the Eurasian Party of Indigenous Peoples, the necessity of a new political voice. In an era of geopolitical instability, shifting global alliances, and a rethinking of Europe's identity as a political space, the issue of representation for those peoples who have remained in the shadows of historical empires for centuries is becoming increasingly relevant. This is especially true for the indigenous peoples of Eurasian ethnic communities that have found themselves trapped within the colonial structures of Russia and previously the Soviet and Tsarist empires. Time to unite. A unified voice for indigenous peoples. The creation of the Eurasian Party of Indigenous Peoples will be a response to the historical injustice in which dozens of peoples have been deprived of their voice, their own statehood, and the ability to influence political processes both within their own territories and on the international stage. This party could unite representatives of peoples such as the Ersha, Udmurts, Chuvash, Sakha-Yakuts, Buryats, Ingush, Lezgins, Kumiks, Bashkirs, Tatars, Uyrat-Kalmiks, Karelians, Komi, and hundreds of other ethnic groups who are native to their lands, but who for centuries have suffered from cultural, political, and economic assimilation and oppression. An instrument of political influence, the formation of the Eurasian Party opens the way for participation in the European Parliament, in the parliaments of individual European countries, and in international forums. This will allow indigenous peoples to directly propose their own initiatives, promote laws on the rights of peoples, on reparations, on the protection of languages and cultural heritage, on the liberation of territories and the recognition of independence for new states. As shown by the experience of the Green Party in the European Parliament, even in the context of large traditional political coalitions, a political force representing the values of specific communities can exist successfully and bring new perspectives and priorities into the international agenda. The Greens transformed environmental issues from marginal topics into central ones, shaping Europe's climate policy. This is a vivid example of how an idea born in protest and on the periphery can become part of the mainstream political course. Similarly, the Eurasian Party could become a catalyst for rethinking the treatment of peoples who have long been excluded from world politics, new states, new pillars of peace. The collapse of Russian imperial structures is inevitable. In their place, an alternative is already emerging. Peoples who have been oppressed for centuries but have preserved their identity and are ready to create dozens of new independent states. These new republics will not be centers of instability. On the contrary, they will be guarantors of security in Eurasia, regional hubs of resilience, transparency, and cooperation. Moreover, these states are rich in natural and resource wealth, redirecting revenue from resource trade away from oligarchs and imperial military machines and into the economies and social spheres of the peoples themselves will ensure growth in prosperity, education, healthcare, infrastructure, and internal democracy. New economic links and partnerships. The Eurasian Party can also serve as a bridge between the West and the new states, enabling alternative logistics and trade routes, fair agreements, and equitable conditions for business. This will create an entirely new configuration of economic relations in Eurasia free from imperial interests and militarist policies. One of the key initiatives of the Eurasian Party will be a large-scale political and economic project, the route from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. This project envisions the creation of a trans-Eurasian space of sustainable development through which Europe will be able to freely extend its influence deep into Asia via the new independent states. The project will be not only a symbol of territorial liberation from imperial legacy, but also a concrete step towards building new logistical corridors, digital and energy systems, humanitarian exchange, and joint production platforms. This will establish a fundamentally new configuration of Europe's geopolitical influence, open, cooperative, and free from the historical burden of empires. Time to speak in our own voice. The creation of the Eurasian Party is a challenge to the established world order, which for decades ignored the rights of peoples subjected to colonial metropoles. This party will become the voice of those who were deprived of the right to speak, whose opinions were ignored in the UN, PACE, OSCE, and other international institutions. Now their time has come. Europe must hear this voice. This is not merely a party initiative, it is a movement of historical justice, a step toward true diversity, genuine democracy, and peace built on respect, not dominance. The creation of the Eurasian Party of Indigenous Peoples is a timely, necessary, and inevitable solution for Europe and the entire world. This party will become a new subject of international politics, a bearer of the values of freedom, justice, and sustainable development. The time has come to reconsider entrenched beliefs, to reject old imperial thinking, and to enter a new era, an era of peoples who, for the first time in centuries, have gained the right to speak.